It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 151. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, October 19th, 2025. A great day for a podcast about video games and more. And that's exactly what I'm here to do. So welcome to the show. I hope you're doing great out there in the world, wherever and whenever you're listening to this. Thank you so much for being here. The first order of business is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch me play some games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. And today's show will have three sections as always. The first section, I'll tell you about what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you on this microphone. The mid section, which is not mid in quality, it's the middle of the show. That's where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And the third and final section, the Miscellaneous Talk section, is a break from all the video game talk and chatter and mumbo jumbo. And I usually like to get into the worldwide world of sports here and tell you what's going on with my favorite teams. And that will be the case today. This is an NFL Sunday. The mighty Carolina Panthers are playing the Jets in about 2 hours from real time when I'm recording this. And I'm excited to watch that today. And I'll, in the final section, you'll get to hear what's going on with all my favorite teams. So you definitely don't want to miss it. But we got a lot to cover, a lot to talk about, a lot of video gaming before we get to that section. So let's get into it. What have I been playing since I've talked to you last week? And I'd like to report. Ding, 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 ding. I think we have a Game of the Year contender. A new fighter has entered the fray, and it's coming in hot. And I think it's got some hands, so it's up there. Mario Kart World has been, so far, my Game of the Year since it's come out in June. I think Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but that game's been really, really going up there and giving Mario Kart World a run for its money, in my opinion. And now, I think this game, I've been playing this game for about, in the 5 to 10 hour range. This game came out, what is this? Last week, just came out real recently. The new release from Sucker Punch, and that is Ghost of Yotei. So the follow-up game to Ghost of Tsushima. It's a new protagonist in this game called Atsu. I believe it's 300 years after the events of Tsushima. I could be wrong on that, but I think there is some kind of correlation to the timeline there. But it's basically, I think this is a standalone sequel. I don't think you have to play the first one to play this. That's something I've kind of talked about on previous episodes of with these new releases. I think oftentimes you can go back and play the prior one, but if you want to see the latest and greatest, you have to, try out these new ones. And that's what I ended up being tempted to do. And I am pretty excited about it because I think everything in this game so far has been really clicking for me. And I've been having a great time with it. So I want to tell you everything I've been liking about Ghost of Yotei so far and my overall thoughts on this game. So the main character is Atsu, and she is part of a tragedy early on in this video game that sets up the story, and it ends up in a revenge mission. I think all this has kind of been talked about out there, or it's like back of the box talk, where you have to go take down the Yotei 6 is the main goal. So there's a little bit of, I'd say, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdomness to this game, of putting you out in the world, or a little bit of Elden Ring as well with some of the exploration stuff, but putting you out in the open world and kind of letting you have at it in a pretty freeform manner. So you have to kind of get the main mission going, get the destroy Ganon thing to pop up, or in this game it's like basically go take down the Yotei 6, but there's all these other things that open up across the map. There's all these sorts of points on your map you can go to, but you can also just walk around this world and stumble onto things constantly. And I think that is what games like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Elden Ring, and Ghost of Yotei is really, really nailing. And I think it's just doing the open world thing in a really great manner, and I've been enjoying that part about it a lot. So Atsu is an extremely cool character. She, like I said, goes through a tragedy. You're immediately kind of on her side with things, and her dialogue's good. I'm playing with the English dialogue and English subtitles, but they have multiple options in there. But I think the English performance is very good. It doesn't really take you out of the setting too much, And I don't know, just something immediately with Atsu. I just think she's extremely cool. I think her style, her cool hat. They also do have more armor options, hat options, mask options, all sorts of options to make Atsu look like you'd want her to, and different perks and upgrades. So there's all that in this game as well. And what else do I like about this game? The first thing to really notice about this game is the way it looks. If you see any screenshots of this game, any gameplay of this game is extremely beautiful, extremely cool. The art style is cool. The graphical fidelity is awesome. This game is up there in the realistic look, but it's just a tinge off realism, kind of with an artsy, with the style to it. So I think that's extremely cool. I think that's kind of the best of both worlds, if you would ask me. A little bit of the realism's cool just because it really shows off the graphics, but if you have a cool, unique style or a really apparent style, it really kind of enhances the things. And I mean, you can just walk around this world, take screenshots endlessly, and you're going to find really cool things, even from the beginning. It kind of has that first scene. I don't know, I guess games have like the coming out of the vault or the coming over the mountain, or like Breath of the Wild, you think you come out of the cave and you open up to the mountain. This has one of those, and it just kind of lets you ride your horse off into the world of flowers. It's basically a huge path of flowers. And so all the open world stuff in this game is cool. The graphics and the art style is cool. The horseback riding is cool. And I just want to say one thing I did turn on in the settings when I started this game was something that I heard about before that they were kind of advertising as a mode, and that's called the Watanabe mode. And this changes the game's music to lo-fi hip-hop tracks inspired by director Shinichiro Watanabe. And Watanabe is a Japanese anime, television, and film director. He's 60 years old at this point in time. He was born in Kyoto, Japan, and he's best known for Cowboy Bebop, which I'm familiar with, but I've never seen. And then Samurai Champloo, they were saying that was really similar to, I guess, some of the music in this. But Watanabe mode, I don't know if that last part about Samurai Champloo is true, but I heard some comparison to that, and that was a main one, so I don't know. But Watanabe mode, I turn this on, I turn the music volumes at max, and then I turn the sound effects, I turn the combat, and I turn the dialogue down to like a third or maybe like a half of what they normally should be. So I'm really out here bumping the Watanabe, and it's really cool because I listen to lo-fi music a lot just in general in my day-to-day life, and having it mixed in with this open world has been, or it's like one of the most relaxing video game experiences I've had in a while. And it's kind of a crazy contrast from the samurai stuff that's going on around this world, but this is a extremely beautiful looking world. And then you have the lo-fi music really setting the vibe, and I think it does a perfect job of really changing the volume and the presence of the lo-fi music. It doesn't have it constantly, but I'd say it's there about 80% of the time. And oftentimes when it's not there, because you go into like a story setting or some type of really, I don't know, like a heavy combat thing, it even mixes it in with the combat sometimes, but it will go away from time to time, but then it pops back up when, I guess it's really used as like, hey, things are going good right now. Everything's good in the world. You're not being pursued. You're not being attacked, and you're just exploring. And then you get this nice music there going with it. So it's an extremely cool thing. I would maybe recommend it. I don't know if it's going to be for everybody, but it's scratching a particular itch for me, and it's really, really enhancing the game. And then what else did I do? I did mess with the settings at the beginning. I'm actually playing on quality mode, so I want the graphics to look as good as possible because that's the way the game was set up initially, and I would not like the game to look any other way because it looks so good. And what else did I do? I turned the blood off, or turned it low, because I've been doing that in games just, I don't know, just because just being a wuss or whatever, or it just, I don't know, I'm not huge into gore and stuff like that. And I turned off the dismemberment too. So it's nice to have those kind of options in there. And it really kind of makes this world, like I'm saying, really, really relaxing to go through and play. And that's been a unique touch to this game. And I think the Watanabe mode is something that everyone should try, especially if you like this game. I think you should try it. And if you like lo-fi music, I think you should definitely try it. So that's been one of the main, like, strong things that I've really liked about this game. That's really been drawing me to play this, because it really does make the open world stuff, which sometimes is overwhelming or intimidating to me, it's been making it extremely relaxing. And this game does a great job of having storyline stuff to do and then things you can just go find. So it does a perfect mix of all the things in the open world that you'd want to do. And None of it feels too superfluous. I mean, everything feels pretty good. Even the little side missions, you're going to climb some things, you're going to go down a little secret path. Maybe you have to swim through something. There's like really, really cool exploratory stuff, and I think that's kind of been half the fun so far. But I do like the combat in this game. I've been leaning towards the parries. I've been leaning towards the rolls. So you don't even start with the roll, but you have to upgrade that if you'd like to. So this game has all sorts of branching paths of how you can upgrade your character and make Atsu unique to you and your fighting style. And I've been having a lot of fun with that. So I've been mainly putting things into survival things. Like if I fall, I'm able to roll and kind of save myself. I've been putting it into the parry. I've been putting it into a roll. I've been putting it into my horse. When you are in the open world, if you go through a particular bed of flowers, I think it's just the white flowers around the world, you can get a speed boost for your horse. So that's a pretty cool thing for going around the world. And you can even increase the speed of that. So that's something I've done. I really like riding the horse in this game. You can just whistle for the horse like in other games, and it comes right to you, and you can hop on the horse. You can pick up things in the open world on your horse. There's a cool perk that you can jump off your horse and attack people, so I think that's something that I might get at some point. But this game, even walking around this game, you don't have to listen to the beating of the horse hoofs, but even those can kind of be kind of rhythmic sometimes and help the relaxation. But this game really is fun just to walk around in, because that will really elevate the lo-fi music over everything in the experience. So it's just been a really cool thing to do, and I've been enjoying the hell out of this game. So what else do I like about it? This game does have a sense of humor in the story, the setup. There's a big tragedy. You're going to take down the Yotei 6. That's kind of the back of the box talk in this game. And I think all the tutorial stuff is good. This is a little bit of a spoiler, but nothing too crazy. But you end up taking down the first member of the Yotei 6, like in the tutorial mission. So it kind of gives you a head start towards taking down the 6. So I kind of enjoy that as someone who doesn't finish video games often. It's doing really, really well at like propelling you through the game and keeping you moving. It's just done a really great job through the dialogue. Then the cutscenes in this game are cool. And like I said, the dialogue is really, really good. And I think it does just enough to keep the story moving and making it interesting. And I don't know why I keep thinking about, I do keep thinking about Red Dead Redemption during the early points of this game, and I think it's just from how beautiful the game looks, how cool the main character is, from like Arthur Morgan to Atsu. I think they're really strong characters, and just something that really I just really like them, and I think it's something that really enhances the game. So I think that's been one of my early the comparisons to this game has been Red Dead 2, because I think some of the realism of this world, this game does have a more of like it just has a touch of like an anime, or like a anime kind of like Japanese art style to it, but it does like kind of touch on realism. And it's like an extremely beautiful world. It's like something you'd want to see a painting of this game. And then I think Red Dead Redemption is just a little bit more of a tick to the realistic side, but it also is something that if you saw like a painting or something of the Red Dead world, you would be in awe, or I would be in awe at least. So the game looks extremely good. The map is really cool. It gives you, there's all ways you can add stuff to your maps and markers. You have a spyglass in here where you can look in the open world. You can hover over things and it'll kind of label them on your map. So it does a really good job of that. You can buy maps from a map maker, and there's a little mini game of how you have to, it's kind of like a puzzle. You open the map, it kind of gives you the map piece of just the outline of like where it is, and you have to kind of go look over your map and place it there, and then you'll get some new information. So some pretty cool map techniques, some pretty cool open world stuff. The combat is extremely fun. Like I said, I've been parrying and rolling. I've been having a lot of fun with that. This game does have difficulty levels, which I appreciate as someone who's not the toughest video gamer. And I'm playing this on easy like I do a lot of games. But I think with the combat, it's mainly just a timing thing. So I think if I can get a handle of the combat on easy, I think it'll probably translate to the higher difficulty levels, because you're still having to kind of do the same thing. You still don't want to be taking hits. You still are trying to parry. You're still trying to dodge. You're still trying to look out for clues from the enemy. I just got one cool perk I got, and this is something that I think is just really neat about this game, is a lot of times with enemies, you're fighting 7 of them at the same time or something. One kind of step up to you. Sometimes 2 will kind of come at you. There will be archers that are shooting at you. So a lot of times when I'm in a battle, I like to go try to take out the archers, because they're kind of the most annoying because they're far away from you. And I would kind of charge at them and go at them with my sword. But then I looked in the upgrade path, and there's actually a perk for Like you basically like ram into them like a truck stick, and you can charge at them. You hit circle, you knock them over, you get them in the air, and then you can start punching them, or they hit the ground and they're all disoriented, and you can keep fighting them. So I think that kind of stuff is cool. All the combat feels extremely good. There's still the face-offs, and there's some stealth to it. Some of that feels good, but you don't really have to. Oftentimes I'm just going and try to take on all these enemies. I guess that's because I'm playing on easy, but I'm just having a 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100. This is a game of the year contender for me easily. It's up there fighting with Mario Kart World and maybe some Sonic Racing CrossWorlds right now, and it's coming in hot. I've just been playing it in the past week, and I'm really, really high on the Ghost of Yotei. I think it's really fun. So what else do I have? I think exploration's cool. There's a sense of humor in this game, which is interesting, and I think kind of unexpected because of the grim nature of the game. The bad start where you're trying to go get revenge, you're trying to go slide and get revenge, but there are randomly like sincere moments of humor in this game, and they come from Atsu, they come from other characters in the world. So I think the writing in this game is perfect for what it's going for. There's a gambling mechanic in this game. So there's like inns across the world, there's little towns, there's little bandit camps, there's all that kind of stuff. And there's a gambling mini game in here, which is really fun. It's more of it kind of uses the trigger of the DualSense. It kind of uses the vibrate a little bit, and you have to do some precision. It's like I don't know if it's like curling, but it's where you're using two things. You knock one into the other, and you don't want to knock it off the table. So that's kind of the mini game. So I thought that was a pretty cool touch on the gambling. I thought it was going to be like a dice game or something, but it was actually something that I was interested in immediately. So I really think this game is swinging a really hot bat. It's swinging 1,000%, and I'm liking everything that's been doing so far. So what else do I have here in my notes about this game I want to tell you about? Ghost of Yotei. The armor, the masks, and the hats are cool. You can kind of customize Atsu to be however you want to be, and there's different perks that are related to some of the different items. You still have the wind in here that's directing you, which I think is a great mechanic. In this game, you can take 1 million screenshots, and I've just been having a lot of fun with it. I really do recommend that Watanabe mode, and Ghost of Yotei has been extremely cool. It's extremely polished. It runs great. It looks good. The combat's fun. The story's great. So, I really have no complaints with this game whatsoever. And I really do think it's going to be up there as a contender for my game of the year at this point, even early on in the playing of it. So, Ghost of Yotei, I really can't say too much good things about it. I think go check it out, or please go try it if you have any interest and you want to play it. And I'm going to be taking down the Yotei 6. All right, let me rack my brain for anything else I want to talk about Ghost of Yotei that I think is cool. Nothing. That game's just awesome. So Atsu, really, really cool character. Maybe the character of the year. I got to talk about my game of the year categories here in a minute after I talk about these games I've been playing. So I've been playing Ghost of Yotei. Another new game I picked up is Pokemon Legends Z through A. So the new release from Pokemon. This is not one of the mainline games, but this is the follow-up to Pokemon Legends Arceus, which came out in 2022. This came out on 10/16 for Nintendo Switch 1 and 2. I'm not really sure how it's playing on the Switch 1. I haven't really heard. My assumption would be that it's playable. Maybe it doesn't look the greatest, but I don't know if it would completely detract from the experience. But on Switch 2, this game looks really good. Not that the game is looking like Ghost of Yotei or anything, but the game runs flawlessly. Everything in the world looks good. There's no crazy what's the world, a pop in, anything like that, where it's loading in the environment. Everything in this game looks pretty good. The cutscenes look fine. The open world Pokemon look good. So, this game is impressive in that regard. I don't think it's like the most visually impressive or great thing to look at, but it looks good. So, and that's nice. It feels like a Switch 2 game. And I think that's really cool about this. So I picked Chikorita as my starter. The setting for this is Lumiose City. This is the sole setting for the game. This is the same city that appeared in Pokemon X and Y, but with a new modern feel. And some of the characters in this game are cool too. This game it doesn't have spoken dialogue. That's never been really the case for Pokemon. And I think it's a little bit striking early in this game when you're playing it, because the game does look good. It looks like a modern game, and then there's no voice acting. So I think it takes a little bit. I even looked maybe an hour into the game. I was like, or at some point I thought the game was glitching. I don't know why I thought that, but I was like, it seems like there should be dialogue here. And I looked it up online. And it's like, no, Pokemon never has dialogue. And I'm like, that's right. And it's not something they were ever touting with this. And I think it is a little bit unusual, but I don't know how necessary it is. I'm someone who's played a lot of Pokemon games over the course of my life. I don't think I've ever beaten one. Maybe I've beaten one of them over, I don't even know. I think Pokemon's definitely on my list of a game. I need to complete a game in the series at some point, and maybe this will be the one. So I've been having fun with this. The characters in this game are pretty cool, and Tawny's a pretty cool like sidekick character. She's kind of walking you through the early points of this game and kind of your sidekick and kind of showing you the lay of the land. And then AZ, the really tall guy, he seems pretty cool. And the character setup's fine. I think especially I'm an older video gamer. I think if you were a kid, this would be really, really awesome to you. I think the way this game looks, the way the game plays, and then the main event in any Pokemon game are the Pokemon. I think that's what most of the people are here for. And I think this game gets rid of some of the performance issues, and it's a follow-up to Legends, which everybody liked. It is a follow-up to that, but adding on some more mechanics that are really cool and modern. So I think it's a really cool modern take on Pokemon, and I think especially if you like Pokemon, you're going to enjoy this. So I've been having fun with this, but I've been mainly, I've been on the Ghost of Yotei train, but I have been playing this and really, really enjoying it. So I even think this could possibly be up there, making moves on my Game of the Year list. So basically at this point, I just need to start, keep on playing, keep on deciding what my favorite Game of the Year is going to be. And I think there are, more contenders than I was originally envisioning. So I'm pretty glad I've been trying these games out, and I've been having a lot of fun with them early on. So what else do I want to say about Pokemon Legends Z through A? I think it's pretty cool that the ranking system in this game is you are starting in Z and you're trying to get through A. So I've already got to Y, so I've already moved up one spot, and I have a lot to go if you can't tell, because there's a lot more letters to get up to A. And I really didn't understand what that meant before playing the game, but early on, you're learning the lay of the land, and you're learning kind of the ranking system. So pretty fun. There are the wild zones in this game. If you see the early footage of this game, it looks like the wild zones, it almost kind of looks like a limitation of the world. It kind of looks like, oh yeah, they don't want you to go farther than here on the map. But I think once you start playing the game, the wild zones are actually it's like a function of the city. So this is kind of like a modern city, and they've set up these wild zones, which do have these kind of like AR. You can see these barriers. It's not like a real barrier, but you can see the visual representation in the world for these people in the city. So I think that's kind of a cool touch. I still don't know if I'm going to be missing like real expansive open sections, but I don't know if there's going to be some of those kind of different variations of biomes or whatever throughout this world. But the main basis of it is the city. There's some more vertical stuff in this game where you're able to get on top of the buildings, kind of do some parkour. You can kind of jump off the buildings, and I think that's a pretty neat thing to it. And I think the city looks cool, and it's a cool like mix of Pokemon living in a city. I think it's just a kind of a cool setup, and not something I guess we've seen a whole lot before. So they're trying something new besides giving us just some similar things in that regard. So I think that's a good thing too. So I've been having a lot of fun with this game. I've been playing some in handheld mode, which has been nice. That's a benefit of the Nintendo Switch. This game's running flawlessly, I would say. And I've been having fun with it. So what else do I want to say about the Pokemon Legends Z through A? Trying to think. Catching the Pokemon's fun. The combat, you're actually kind of walking around in combat. It's not that different from what you're doing, but I think it does kind of keep you in the mix a little bit more, which is nice. And I think the main thing about the combat is it speeds up the process a little bit, I'd say, because you're not going into a menu, you're not having to select something. It's kind of, you're fighting in real time, and you're having to go through cooldowns. So this game basically has Z targeting across anything in the world. So if you go into a fight with a Pokemon, you Z target them, and then that brings up the option for all your face buttons to be your different moves. So this will, you do your tackle, you do your leaf, I think it's leaf spin, I don't know if that's what it's called, but your leaf barrage, and then you can't do any more moves. So at that point you might want to do your tail whip, which will take down your enemy's defense. So I think it allows you to use your full arsenal a little bit more, and it allows you to stay engaged with the combat, and it kind of just keeps it moving real seamlessly, which I think is nice. And I think that's kind of a nice touch to it. It hasn't been too much of a change, but it seems like a quality of a life improvement thing that's really, really cool and fun. So I've been enjoying that part of it too. I want to get some new style for my character. I think he's looking kind of lame early on, but I think there's all sorts of different places you can go to buy different things or get different styles and change your character to make him unique. But there were some okay options at the beginning, but I would like to see those throughout the game. I just caught a Pichu, which is a pretty cool Pokemon. I like Chikorita as my main starter so far. I haven't really come across any other Pokemon I think are too extremely cool yet, because I'm just in the early areas. But I am excited to build my team out and see what I can do and continue playing this. It's been fun. The music in this game is really good too. It's kind of more of piano music, a little bit more on the Tears of the Kingdom side of thing, but it's really enjoyable. It's a nice addition to the game, and something that I noticed or something that stands out to me of just kind of like I guess maybe some of the polish around this game. I think it's seems like a really, really strong release, and I hope people, especially if you're a Pokemon fan, I would say try it. And if you haven't played Pokemon in a long time, this might be the perfect one for you to try. So that's another game I've been playing this week, Pokemon Legends Z through A. All right, what else have I been playing? So those have been the two newer games, or the two new games I've started this week. But I've also been playing more of Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, which is a new game I got a couple weeks ago. I have gotten 2 first place finishes in this game so far. I've been using Tails, have been my main character. I wrote Tails Never Fails, and the online in this is so much fun. It's been really reminding me of playing Splatoon 3 and how much enjoyment I got out of it that year and then in the following years with Splatoon 3. And this online is really, really up there. It's just extremely fun. I'm playing this on the PlayStation. This game is available multi-platform, but I think a lot of people were kind of downplaying the Switch 1 version, and this made me, for some reason, just want to try it on the PlayStation. And it's extremely cool to be playing just a kart racer on the PlayStation. I don't think I've ever done it before. Using the PlayStation 5 controller is amazing. You're getting like the feedback from a kart racer on this really modern controller. The game looks beautiful. It's running in all the frames, all the resolutions, everything on the PlayStation 5. You know, this game looks extremely cool. For a kart racer, you can really, really do the graphics up, and it's just kind of crazy to be playing one. Not that Mario Kart World doesn't look good, but this is it just has the little bit more boost of a PlayStation 5 that you're seeing in there with the graphics. And it's a different style. I think there's merit to both of them, but it's just a nice change of pace to be playing a kart racer on the most powerful console that I own. And I've been having fun with that. So this game, I'm trying to think what else I want to say about it. The online racing is really fun. This will be a reason for me to keep playing for PlayStation online service, because I'd like to be able to have this. So, PlayStation's is getting some extra money out of me there. And I think that is a testament to how good this game is. And if you like kart racers, or if you like racing, I think please try this one out. If you like Mario Kart World, please try this one out. Especially if you are mainly a Grand Prix racer, an online racer like myself. I think this one is perfect for that. The Grand Prix in here is really fun, but the online has been the main thing that I've been hopping into when I go to play this game, because it has a great ranking system. I think the ranking system has seasons to it. I'm not 100% sure, but you start like at D or F, and you're going up to like A tier, and there's different, you have to go like C+, C- in there, so there's different tiers within each letter grade or letter rank. And I don't know, and I've been moving up slightly, I really have. And this game, I think, is doing a good job of not having as much RNG on the online racing, and I think that's been actually really, really nice. And it's been I would say that is a pro to this over Mario Kart World. It's a kart racer, so there are some wacky items and crazy things going on, but it feels like you get your position at the end a little bit more based on your merit in this game. And I think that is a strong thing about this game. I've been finishing, and like I say, I think I'm okay. I think I'm pretty good at kart racers. I think if I have to have one of my genres, I think I'm pretty good at racing games. I'm not like, whatever, I think it's just generally pretty good at these. And Mario Kart World is just so hard to finish. There's so many racers on the map. There's so many wild things going on. There is some there is RNG, obviously. And the blue shells, there's nothing like that in this game. There's nothing that's automatically a first place deterrent. So I think that's just some nice things with the online racing. And the variety of the maps, the CrossWorlds, you're racing on different maps. If you're in the lead, you get to choose where the map goes. I think some of that stuff is cool. I like picking up the coins. I just learned today that there are all these gadget slots and ways you can upgrade your character in your car, or I guess your character. And there's like 6 of them or 7 of them I have available. I was using one of them. So I have all these things I can choose to customize myself. I've mainly been leaning towards like drifting and speed. And there's been other things that I've been tempted to try to use, but I just put those gadgets on this morning and did a couple races with them. And I'm like, damn, I've been missing out on this. I've been happy with my results and where I'm finishing, but I got a little more firepower to bring to the table here, and just options. So it's really fun, because I like getting into an online game where the loop of it's so fun, where you just want to keep getting into the matches, kind of like Splatoon 3, and then anything outside of it, like building up your character or your stats, or your different your builds and things like that. All that just kind of comes down the road later on when you feel like looking at it. But I tend to play kind of the same cart and the same gun in Splatoon and just kind of play it all the way through. And it's nice to have the options, but it's not something I always interact with. But I'm just kind of saying that I think the base gameplay in this game is so much fun that you really can get enjoyment out of it from just booting it up, not changing anything, and just going into these races. It's extremely fun. So I would really recommend this to anyone, especially if you're someone who doesn't have a Switch 2 and wants to get a new kart racer. I think this could be a perfect one to do. And the online racing's fun. I believe there's crossplay. The online racing reminds me a lot of the like trappings around it, like the character tags and the emotes. Reminds me a lot of Street Fighter and I guess Splatoon in a lot of ways too. And the music in this game is extremely good. It's a great game to have the music on, and I'm someone who listens to podcasts a lot while I play games, but the music in this game is extremely enjoyable and fun, and fits the setting perfectly. The characters are really cool. There's more characters I want to try out. There's DLC characters. I think there's some DLC levels in this that I might potentially purchase at some point. And this is a weird one because I've been having an extremely like 10 out of 10 fun time with this one, but it's going to feel weird if this ends up being my game of the year. But I'm open to it. Still got a couple months of the year to go, and I'm having, some really, really good time, especially with the Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. And what else do I want to say about the Racing CrossWorlds? I talked about the ranking, which is pretty fun. I think I'm like C plus or in C. I'm in the C rankings right now. I'll be interested to see if those do reset, over a course of like a season or whatever. I would kind of want it to do that because it would give me something to work towards, which would be really fun. And I need to look around more with those gadgets and things like that and kind of work with my builds and I might need to try some new characters too at some point, but you probably heard me say that before in different games and I end up kind of playing the same character most of the time. But I've been having a whole lot of fun with Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, and yeah, I think that's everything I want to say about that game for this week. The final game that I've been playing, it's been a couple of really good weeks for some video gaming over here for me. I've been playing Mario Golf Toadstool Tour on the GameCube. So this is something I picked up a couple weekends ago. I did a pretty good little trade in and had some credit and picked up I picked up an OEM GameCube controller, which has been an extremely big upgrade from the third party one. So I want to say that if you buy a GameCube in this current day and time, so the third party controllers are okay, but I don't think they do the OEM original controllers complete justice. And I think it is a significant upgrade on comfort, and that's the main thing, the comfort and the feel of it. So I think it's cool that I have a third party for just kind of a backup or a secondary one. But if you want to really do some GameCube gaming, I think you need to get an OEM controller because it's a huge difference on how it feels. And I unlocked a new course in this game this week, which is nice. I think you just do that from playing the tournaments. I don't know how many more new courses there are, but that's something I was wondering early on because there was only 2 courses. But I was even having a whole lot of fun with those 2 courses. I figured out the swinging mechanics. So you have a manual and you have an automatic swing. The manual swing will give you a little more, I guess it gives you more room for error, but it also gives you a little more room for accuracy or doing exactly what you want to do on your swing of putting topspin or backspin. But I do find using the automatic one is good from time to time when you really just need to play it safe. And I think it's a good trade-off. I don't think someone using automatic, the entire thing, would do better than someone using manual. I think it's kind of how you use it. And that was a kind of a question early on I had. I was like, it feels kind of bad that you can just do automatic if it's going to be, that easy. But I think it's just automatic is usually just kind of the safest swing that you can have, and you can hit some more high highs or you can hit some more low lows with the manual. So that is a little bit of the kind of the gamble in there that adds to some strategy, which is really fun. So I have been trying out new characters in this game. I've kind of been running the gamut. I've been doing Yoshi. I've been doing Daisy. I've done Waluigi. I've done Diddy Kong, so there's a pretty good roster of characters in this game. They have their different attributes as well. And this has been a game that I have it in my at my desk where my computer is. So it's kind of been it's my console hooked up in here with my computer. So it's been a perfect thing if I've been like watching a stream or whatever to just play like 18 holes, or in the morning I'll just have some coffee and sit here and play a little bit on the GameCube and look on the computer, check out what's going on in the world and things like that. And it's been a perfect thing. So I've gotten back into retro gaming in the last, I guess it's been over the last year and a half, where I bought some retro consoles and kind of got back into collecting some older games. And I think I've determined that my best efforts would be just spend kind of focusing on the GameCube. Not that I want to try to get a bunch of games for it, but there is a huge library of games I'd be interested in. I think the GameCube looks particularly good on currently. I think there's the first console I grabbed trying to do the retro stuff with N64, and I think that one's fun and playable. I think that one's kind of more fun to have for like a party setting if you had people that came over and wanted to play. But I think if you want to do the same thing and then also have like the single player gaming experience that still kind of holds up today, I think the GameCube is a great place to start. I know the big knock on it is a lot of the games can be expensive, but I think the games run good enough and look good enough that they're it's not like a hindrance to play them. And you can go play old games, I mean any old game, but I think there's a good upgrade to how the GameCube looks, and I think it still holds up today is kind of what I'm saying. So I've been playing a lot of Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. I think that's going to continue. I think it's been kind of a perfect game to have for my GameCube and been a perfect retro experience. You're not having any online functionality. The game is what it is. I'm discovering some new courses in it. I'm using the old controller, which feels a lot of nostalgia with that, and the music in it's fun. Mario Golf, you don't have to pay all your full attention to it either. You can listen to a podcast like this one while you play, and that one's probably going to have to be on my list of, especially if I keep playing it over the course of the end of the year, it's going to have to be on the potential for one of my Game of the Year categories, best game of the prior year. So I've been having a lot of fun with Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, and that's been everything I've been playing in the past week. So I've been playing Ghost of Yotei, Pokemon Legends E through A, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, and Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. This has been the year of no direction on this show, so I haven't had like a genre or theme I've been focusing on. I think the only direction I have right now of like a video game challenge to myself is I would like to complete Super Mario Galaxy 100% to see if I still am able to do so. I did this back in the day. I completed the main story of the new Galaxy release last week, and I would like to continue making progress on that to see if I'm able to 100% that game once again. So that's my new video game challenge. My prior one has been to complete Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So the other one I'm going to keep just having this section of a challenge to myself is to complete Super Mario Galaxy 100%. If I'm able to, I might have to give up. Just say, hey, I'm too old. I'm just not able to move around these virtual worlds like I used to. And, I can't do it. But I'm not at the moment of throwing in the towel. I'm not anywhere close. I'm pretty confident I'm going to be able to do it. I just don't know how quickly I'll be able to do it or how quickly I will get to it. But I think it's something I can do. And that's my new challenge to myself that you'll probably hear for a long time on this show. Excuse me. My top new game at the moment I would say is Ghost of Yotei. And just other general things for the Dep Lewis Show Awards 2025. That's the 4th annual Dep Lewis Show Awards. It's going to take place on the final Sunday of the year. That's Sunday, December 28th, 2025. So I just want to put that on your calendars. I'd like to try to get to the final weekend of the year, so it gives me enough time to play the games up until the latest possible, and to be able to have the whole year and all the time I need to determine what I think are the best games or what I think are the winners of these categories I'm going to create. So for this year, I know I'm going to have the best game of the year will be a category. Best game from a prior year is a category I always like to do. So that's any game that I complete this year that came out in a prior year. I think I'm going to start doing top 10 games of all time. I'll start doing this each year, and we can kind of see where my thoughts or opinions on that are going to change. So that's going to be, I think I've done my top 10 games of all time at some point just on a regular episode, but I want to add this into the Game of the Year mix because I think that'll be a perfect placeholder for me to go back and look at it, since I do like to go back and look at my Game of the Year list from time to time. So over the course of this show, just my Game of the Year winners have been Splatoon 3, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and Astrobot. So I'm pretty happy with all of those. I don't really have any regrets. I think maybe the years, since I haven't completed Tears of the Kingdom, I think that year maybe could have been Forza Horizon 5. I think maybe would have been the alternate there, but I think I played enough of Zelda, and that year I played a ton of it, and I've still been playing it, and I still have plans to finish that game someday. I still think it is a game that is worthy, of all the praise that I gave it. But I think generally I'd like to complete these games. If I end up playing a ton of Ghost of Yotei and don't complete it, but I've played a ton of it, I think I'm still going to consider it. So I think it's a case-by-case basis with these games for me, but I do need to think about that a little more with these games that release later in the year. I'm not the quickest person at playing these games, and that is just the reality of being me over here. But, so my categories for the Dep Lewis Show Awards 2025 would be Best Game of the Year, Best Game from a Prior Year. I'm going to do my top 10 games of all time. I might do my favorite console of the year. Some other categories I might do my favorite podcast, my favorite YouTube channels or streams, things like that. There might be a favorite, best video game music of the year, best character of the year, things like that. But I just the main thing today is to tell you the date. It's going to be Sunday, December 28th, 2025 for the 4th Annual Dep Lewis Show Awards. So Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2025. That's one of my favorite episodes to do each year. And I'll be really looking forward to it. And I think it's going to be a fun couple last months with video games that I'm playing. And there's even some more video games coming out that could be potential candidates. You never know. And, just very, very exciting. So I just want to put that on your radar so you will be prepared just like me. All right, so that's everything that I've been playing this week. That's going to wrap up the first section of the show. And we are going to get into the midsection. So after this quick break, you're going to hear some lovely music. That's going to be the break. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to tell you everything you need to know going on around the video game world. This is a heavy just video game release section. So putting some things on your radar. You don't want to miss it because it's going to lay out, what's going on. So please come back after this music. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 151. This is where I tell you about everything you need to know going on around the video game world. And the first thing I want to tell you about is a piece of hardware that's been delayed a few times. Everybody's been kind of waiting on this, and that is the Analogue 3D. So that is the reimagining of the N64 from the company Analogue. It's in 4K resolution, 10 times the resolution of the original N64, the first and perhaps greatest multiplayer system of all time is what they say. Analogue 3D is 100% compatible with every original N64 game ever made. Region-free, Bluetooth, LE, dual-band Wi-Fi, 4 original style controller ports, entirely new next-generation analog hardware featuring 3D operating system engineered entirely in FPGA, no emulation. So this is basically the modern N64 that can play your old carts. So very cool piece of hardware. It's $249.99, so $250 US dollars. It's out of stock, unable to be pre-ordered currently, and that's been the case for a while. And this game has gone through a couple delays. But their October update to this, which I think is pretty funny, is that the Analogue 3D remains to target on... Wow, okay, so it even says on target. So there's no guarantee this is coming out this year. And people are questioning if this thing's going to come out ever. But the October update from Analogue is Analogue 3D remains on target to ship in quarter 4 of this year, which we are already in quarter 4. It's October 19th today. There's only a couple months left in the year. So it's pretty crazy that they're saying they're on target to hit the Q4 of this year with no dates. I mean, what the hell's going on with that? So this is their update. There is no change in price or added cost for all open pre-orders. If you need to change your shipping address, we will be sending out an email to all pre-orders 1 week before shipping, which no one knows when that is. If you would like to cancel your pre-order at any time for a full refund, visit analog.co/support. We appreciate your patience as always and can't wait to get the 3D in your hands. So pretty wild here. This sounds a little bit suspicious to me. I think possibly this thing's not going to be coming out in the 4th quarter, but that was just completely a guess on my part, and I do feel bad for anybody who's pre-ordered one of these. I think if these things were available for pre-order or purchase, I would be thinking about it because I have some interest in this, but I think this has been a wild process, and I don't know when it's going to release, and that's my update there. The Analogue Pocket has been out of stock recently too. That's been in stock for a while. For $220 is the price point on that, but the black version and the white version of those are currently out of stock, so there's nothing really. I think you can buy there's an old system that you can buy, the NGO, I think is what it is, but it just plays older cartridges that I'm not familiar with or have any experience with, but there is one product on there that's available console to be purchased, but no Analogue Pocket or no Analogue 3D currently. So that's the update there for Analogue 3D for their October update. So hopefully they will be getting a date sometime soon because that is crazy. We're in the 4th quarter. The year's wrapping up here, Analogue 3D. All right. So the main thing now to talk about are some video game releases that are coming out in the upcoming week. So there's a whole lot. October has been one of the busiest months for video game releases, and I want to make sure that you're aware of everything going on that you might need to know. And this next one, I want to say, I feel like all the rumblings on this game have been extremely positive. I believe people are putting this on their Game of the Year list already. I believe people have been chomping at the bit to talk about this game, and that is Ninja Gaiden 4. So this game releases on Tuesday, October 21st for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox Game Pass, Microsoft Store, and Steam. So I just want to say, I don't think reviews have come out for this game yet, but I've heard so many people, I feel like, talking about, hey, there's something coming out soon. It's either this or Metroid Prime 4, and I really do think it's this. That people are loving the hell out of this new Ninja Gaiden game. So Ninja Gaiden 4 experience a return to the intense, high-octane action that established Ninja Gaiden as a premier action game series. This long-awaited 4th installment introduces an all-new protagonist in Yakumo, a young ninja prodigy whose fate is intertwined with the legendary Ryu Hayabusa himself. Prepare for a legacy reborn with exhilarating style and thrilling action for a new generation of players. With adjustable difficulty settings and customizable experience, Ninja Gaiden 4 will push action game veterans to their limits while inviting newcomers to the rise of the legendary ranks of Master Ninja. Inviting newcomers to rise to the legendary rank of Master Ninja. The standard edition of this game is $69.99 US. It's developed by Platinum Games / Team Ninja / Koei Tecmo Games. So I don't remember all the dealings there. I guess this is a combo platter of development, but the publisher is Xbox Game Studios. And so I just want to make sure that you know this game is coming out, especially if you are into these style of games. I have a little bit of history playing Ninja Gaiden 2 back on the Xbox 360. That was my first time playing one of those games, and I had a whole lot of fun with that. It's not something that I completed, but that was my first introduction to the series, and it was shockingly cool to me and difficult. That Ninja Gaiden 2 released in 2008. It was developed by Team Ninja and published by Microsoft Game Studios, the sequel to the 2004 title Ninja Gaiden, making it the second 3D title in the series of the same name. Tomonobu Itagaki was one of the directors and producers of that game. And the other little bit of news, so the main, Ninja Gaiden 4 is coming out in the upcoming week, but some sad news from this world for everyone and Team Ninja. So Tomonobu Itagaki, who I just mentioned, has passed away at the age of 58 following a serious illness. So thoughts and prayers to all his friends and families, and to his friends and family and fans of his work, and everyone who really cared about him. So Tomonobu Itagaki, rest in peace. Let's see here. He was people call him a transformative figure in contemporary action games thanks to his work at Tecmo, the company he joined in 1992. He led Team Ninja in the revival of Ninja Gaiden. So I guess that's more of like the 3D side of things, as well as creating Dead or Alive series. So extremely high pedigree, high output from Itagaki. He also founded Valhalla Game Studios and released Devil's Third for Wii U. So those were his big, tentpole releases for Mr. Itagaki. And this is pretty, I guess like touching would be the word here, but this was a post on his Facebook page after he passed away and was confirmed by a close personal friend, or I guess listed by a personal friend. And I think, this is straight from Itagaki. So this was called Words to Leave. So these are some words that Itagaki wrote before he passed away. So definitely touching. And let's hear what he said. So he said, "The light of my life is about to run out. The fact that this sentence has been posted means it's finally time. I'm no longer in this world." And then this is followed by a note saying the next lines are for someone special, and everyone's kind of believing it's possibly his daughter. So he says, "My life has been a series of battles. We stayed winning. I've caused a lot of trouble. I stand by my beliefs, and I own them no regrets." So, just pretty wild. And it would be a wild thing to write some words to come out after you pass away. And he was, I guess he says no regrets in there, but you can say that, some things were, my life's been a series of battles. And I don't know what he means, personal. I guess he means illness for sure with some of this, only passing away at 58. But either way, I don't know. I thought that was kind of nice, and hopefully that brings some comfort to whoever it was intended for. So rest in peace to Tomonobu Itagaki, passed away at 58. All right, so he just had a large hand in the Ninja Gaiden series, and I think he even wrote in there, I don't know if I got all the notes on there, but it was something like, he was excited and sad he couldn't see the release of this new game. So, just T's and P's over there to Itagaki and his family and friends and all at Team Ninja and all above. So Ninja Gaiden 4 coming out in the upcoming week. That is the good news here, though, and more of the uplifting part of it. And please go support that if you're interested, and just keep your ears to the street on that game, because all the rumblings I've been hearing have been extremely positive. And I think in this year for something to be standing out so much, I think is really, really strong and impressive, because there's been tons of great video games this year. And I guess it's called parody, that I don't exactly know what the game of the year is going to be. I think it's going to be different for a lot of outlets, and I think that is a really cool thing. So Ninja Gaiden 4 coming out in the upcoming week, and rest in peace to Itagaki. All right, so what else is going on around the video game world that you need to know? I want to tell you about some releases that come out in the upcoming week and put them on your radar. So Double Dragon Revive releases on October 23rd for PlayStation 5 and 4, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch, and Microsoft Windows. $39.99 US. The world-famous Double Dragon roars back to life. The developer is Yuke's. Its publisher is Arc System Works. And the Double Dragon series has defined the belt scroll action genre ever since it hit the arcades in 1987. Now it returns as Double Dragon Revive, thanks to the passion and support of retro game fans over the years. So it's been a great time to be a fan of some of these older series because they've been reviving them in a modern fashion, oftentimes staying true to what the game did that people love, but putting some modern improvements on it. And I think that's a really cool thing. I don't think I have any experience with the Double Dragon franchise, but it's something that I know a lot of people hold in high regard. So I wanted to put that on your radar. And it's not a full price release, which is nice. And this is something I can see myself playing at some point for sure. So hopefully it's going to be a good addition to the Double Dragon franchise. So Double Dragon Revive comes out on October 23rd. Another game that comes out on October 23rd is Plants vs. Zombie Replanted. This is coming out for PlayStation 5 and 4, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch 2 and 1, and Microsoft Windows. This one's $19.99 US. The developer is PopCap Games and the Lost Pixels. So I wonder if PopCap is the original developer. I wonder if Lost Pixels is kind of the team that's handling the port here, but that's just me guessing. This is published by EA, Electronic Arts. The classic Plants vs. Zombies returns in glorious HD. The original battle between plants and zombies is back, bigger, brighter, and crazier than ever before. Experience the game that started it all, now remastered with stunning HD graphics and packed with new secrets and content to uncover. The initial release of this game is 2009. This definitely has a nostalgia blast for me. This was kind of right when I got the iPad, and this was like kind of like the main game I played on there, and just have a lot of fond memories about that. I don't know if I would want to pick up this Replanted. I think this game's probably still fun, but I just don't know if I want to be playing this in 2025. But you never know. This game was pretty addicting, pretty fun back in the day. I don't know if I've just kind of moved on from it, but I think it's something that is worth reviving, and I think a lot of people are going to be excited to play this on the 23rd. All right, another game that launches on the 23rd, and this is for Nintendo Switch 2, that is Persona 3 Reload. So this game's been out on other platforms. This has been a game that I've been playing. I've been having a wonderful time with and loving this game. I started playing it on the Game Pass, and then I bought a copy on PlayStation, started playing it there. And I would love to play it on the Switch, but I just don't know. I feel kind of bad giving up my PlayStation file because I'm like 20-something hours into it. I've already achieved some milestones, like gotten farther than I've ever been in that game. I would like to play this in handheld, but I just don't know. I'll be tempted to see. I guess I'd like to hear what people think about how this runs on the Switch 2. If it runs kind of flawlessly, I'll definitely be tempted, and maybe I'll catch this game on a sale. I know this game goes on sales for the other platforms. And the other little bummer of this game, if you buy a physical copy of this, it's a game key card. So that's a little bit of a negative, I would say. Game key cards, they are whatever they are. It's a physical thing. You can trade it. You can lend it to a friend. So I think that's nice. But ultimately, I think as someone who doesn't collect a ton of physical games, if it's on the card, I think that's more paramount and more collectible in my opinion. But Persona 3 Reload releases on October 23rd for Nintendo Switch 2. And that'll probably be a game that you just hear me talking about over the history of the show for a while, because it's going to be something I continuously play, would be my guess, and it'll take me a long, long time to finish it. But that's a game that I really enjoy a whole lot, and I listen to the music from that game daily, and that's no exaggeration. So Persona 3 Reload coming to Nintendo Switch 2 on October 23rd. All right, let's see. Just one more release to tell you about that's coming out in the upcoming week, and that is Once Upon a Katamari. That releases on October 24th for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch, and Steam. It's going to be $39.99 US, so getting some non-full price games here, which are nice options to have. The developer of this one's Ren Game, and it's published by Bandai Namco Entertainment Inc. Keep the good times rolling with the first new entry in the Katamari Damacy series in 14 years. In this puzzle action-adventure game, the king of all cosmos was fiddling with the scroll and accidentally destroys the Earth and stars. Now the prince must roll their Katamari across time itself, collecting objects through stages in the Jurassic period, the Ice Age, historic Japan, and more to rebuild the glittering night sky. They're touting new stages, new music, and never-before-seen items like the magnet provide exhilarating new experiences. Plus, play as the prince or 68 other cousins, or use the new customization system to create your own unique character to stand out in the online multiplayer Katamari Ball mode. Now onward through new worlds to roll up thy heart's desire and restore the stars. So this game has been something they've been re-releasing some of the old ones in the last couple years, and I guess those have sold well enough and gotten enough fervor and support that they can put a actual new game out in the series, and I think that's a really great thing. I've never really gotten hooked on a Katamari game. I've had some fun with them in the past. It's been something that I know if I played more of, I would enjoy it, and this could be one that I end up purchasing at some point because of the not full price point which would be good to try it out, and potentially could have it a sale at some point even. But I think this will be one of those kind of evergreen, kind of classic video games that you can play at any time. The art style is really, really cool on these games, and I think is going to hold up for a long time. So hopefully if they just get the gameplay right in this, maybe improve on a few things, I think it could be a really solid release, and that is Once Upon a Katamari coming out on October 24th. All right, the last thing I want to tell you about for the midsection this week is Sonic Rumble. This was announced back in May 2024, I believe was the case, and it's now releasing in November 2025. We don't have an official date yet, but they're saying November. Ready, Set, Rumble. Sonic Rumble is the first multiplayer party game in the iconic game series with up to 32 players battling it out. The developer and publisher is Sega. I originally thought this was going to be like a Smash Brothers kind of style Sonic thing, and I was excited for that, but it looks more of like a Mario Party thing. I didn't really know this was announced previously, so I thought this was something new when I was typing my notes up, and then I learned that it is not. But something interesting, at least. I know Lego Party came out recently, and a lot of people have been saying, hey, this is just as good as Mario Party, if not better. Maybe Sonic is trying to jump on that wave a little bit too. So I just wanted to make you aware that Sonic Rumble is coming out sometime in November 2025. So just, November is just a couple weeks away if you're listening in real time. So plenty of games. There's still some games coming out in November that are really exciting, and I think the kind of the final big release for the year is Metroid Prime 4, which is early December. But I'll keep you up to date, and I'll have to double check the calendar too to make sure that we know all the games that are coming out that seem cool. So that's everything I have for you for the midsection this week. We talked about the Analogue 3D. We talked about Ninja Gaiden 4. We talked about Itagaki passing away, so T's and P's to him or to his family and friends. We talked about Double Dragon Revive. We talked about Plants vs. Zombies Replanted, Persona 3 Reload, Once Upon a Katamari, and Sonic Rumble. So that's all the video game thoughts I have for you for this week. And hopefully you'll be playing some of those games, and hopefully they're all going to be really fun to play. So that is going to wrap up the midsection of this show, but there's still one final section, the Miscellaneous Talk section. It's usually pretty short and sweet, and I usually get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you what's going on with my favorite teams. And I would say, even if you don't like sports, you can just kind of tag along for the emotional journey that I go through, and a lot of times sadness and heartbreak and being upset with my team. So if you're like my friends, they like to make fun of my teams a lot, and you can join the fray, even if you don't like sports, in the final section. So that's all the video game talk, but there is one final section, the Miscellaneous Talk section, after this music. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 151. This is the Miscellaneous Talk section where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So I want to get into the worldwide world of sports as always and tell you what's going on with my favorite teams. So the Carolina Panthers are playing today against the New York Jets at 1 p.m., so that's about an hour away from real time when I'm recording this podcast. And I would like to report that the Panthers won last week against the Dallas Cowboys, if you can believe it. So the Panthers are 500. They're 3-3 after this game, which is pretty incredible. They beat the Panthers at home 30-27. So the Panthers are undefeated at home. Bryce Young was 17-25, 199 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, and 1 sack for 5 yards. So doing good on the sacks there. Rico Dowdle has been insane. He's been going crazy. He's been going Superman. Had 30 carries, 183 yards, a long of 15. He also had 4 catches for 56 yards and a touchdown. So he called his shot before that game. He told them to buckle up. And they buckled up, but they still couldn't catch him. T-Mac had 3 catches for 29 yards and 2 touchdowns. Talk about being efficient. Talking about being a red zone threat. Talking about being a number 1 wide receiver. Talking about being an excellent first-round pick for the Panthers. And one of my favorite players on their team already. Christian Roseboom led the team in tackles with 6 and 3 solo. Trevin Wallace also had 6 tackles, so they're spreading it around a little bit. The defense has been doing a pretty great job. Ryan Fitzgerald, the new kicker, is 3 for 3. 55 yard was his long one, and a great job there, and definitely crucial to getting that win, which they won by a field goal. So just really, really nice to see. I think the Cowboys are a good team, and I think maybe the Panthers, I'm not going to say they're making progress is all I'm going to say, and I would be surprised to see them have a huge dud. Like, I think they should be competitive in some of these games. They're going to be playing the Bills next week, which is a huge test, but I'm going into the game today against the Jets. I don't know what the spread is, but I think the Panthers should win. And that has been a long, long lost feeling as a Panthers fan. So it's nice to see. So go Panthers. I'm excited to see you play in about an hour against the Jets up there in New York. All right, my fantasy team is 6-0, which is very nice. I'm having a little bit of a struggle to start the week this week, and I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit down on my team this week, but I really can't complain. I'm 6-0. I think I'm doing good. I'm like top 1, 2, or 3 with points for, so I think that's all pretty good signs for my team. I've had some injuries going on. Had Lamar Jackson out, which has been hurting me, but overall, pretty happy with my team. I might have to make a few moves after this weekend to kind of just keep them fresh, but I think I've been doing a pretty good job managing over there. So, way to go, fantasy squad players. All right, for the NBA, the preseason's been going on, so I'm a halfway fan of the Hornets since I'm a North Carolina resident now. To finish off the preseason, they played Memphis last week. The Hornets won 145-116, and then they closed out the preseason at the Knicks. The Hornets lost 108-113. So the regular season for the Hornets begins this Wednesday in Charlotte versus Brooklyn, October 22nd. And then the rest of the week is going to be Philly and Washington. And then my favorite NBA team, the Atlanta Hawks, they finished up the preseason. They played Miami last week. The Hawks won 119-118 in overtime. And then Thursday versus Houston, the Hawks lost 115-133 to close out the preseason. Nothing really too crazy there, just getting the guys warmed up and no reports of any kind of crazy injuries, which is nice. The regular season begins. I did see a Zachary Ricochet dunk that was pretty insane and got me excited. And I am excited for the Hawks. The regular season begins Wednesday versus Toronto in Atlanta on the 22nd. And then the rest of the week for the Hawks is Orlando and OKC. So some pretty strong opponents there to start it off. But I'm excited for the Hawks. I'm excited for Trey, Dyson Daniels, Ricochet, Jalen Johnson, Okongwu, and more. And seeing these young guys come through, hopefully Jalen Johnson will be healthy all season. Hopefully Ricochet will take a nice jump. And hopefully, this is Trey's last season under contract. And that's pretty unusual. And I guess they're going to let the season, see how it's going to play out. Maybe they'll trade him at the deadline, depending on how the record is looking. And I don't really know. But Trae Young was selling something kind of like LeBron, kind of teasing that he was leaving Atlanta, or that was kind of like the main talking point about it. So I'm not a huge fan of that, because just, that shows that's going on in his brain. He does talk in there about wanting to be in Atlanta, but until that, contract is signed and dotted and both sides are in agreement, I think that is hugely up in the air. So I think that's a huge storyline to follow of what Ice Trae, because Ice Trae has some, if he doesn't want to sign, he can just be a free agent. So, he has a choice here and the Hawks have a choice here too. So we got two big decisions that need to be made, and I'm interested as a Hawks fan, but I'm excited about some of the young guys too. So I think that is a little bit of a hopeful thing either way. So I think that's good. But the regular season for the NBA starts this week. I'm very excited about that, and I'll be keeping you up to date on wins and losses about the Hornets and the Hawks and what's going on. And that'll be more of a prominent section in this miscellaneous talk section each week. And that is very fun because my favorite baseball team, the Atlanta Braves, they're just in the off season. They did not make the playoffs. The 2026 season for the Braves begins on Thursday, March 26, 2026 versus the Royals. But who's counting or who's waiting? The playoffs for the MLB is still going on. The Dodgers have advanced to the World Series, and they're looking like a behemoth, a juggernaut, a colossus. They're looking unstoppable. But on the AL side of things, Seattle and Toronto are still battling it out. They play tonight. Game 6 of the series. Seattle is up 3-2, and they're playing tonight in Toronto at 8:03 for Sunday Night Baseball. So a pretty great day for sports, pretty great time for sports with the NBA starting up. I watched some college football yesterday. I don't really have a college football team I follow too closely, but I do like watching some of those matchups, and that was pretty fun. Or that's something I've been watching a little more of this year for sure. But the NFL is my favorite thing for the football world. But pretty good stuff going on. So go Panthers today. Go Hornets and go Hawks in the upcoming week. And, go Braves as always. So that is everything. And go my fantasy team. I would like to continue winning there. Would be nice. So that's everything I have for you for the sports updates. We talked about all my favorite teams. And that's everything I have for you for the miscellaneous talk section and everything I have for you for the entire show. So just thank you so much for listening. I'd like to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. Find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch me play some games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further, than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime for any amount if you'd like to support the show. So for Patreon, in the past week, I have added an additional tier. So the first tier I've had on there has been the ground floor tier. That's for the first 100 people only, where you can pay $1 a month and that price will never change, and you will get access to all the other tiers that are ever introduced on Patreon in the future. So in addition to that, I have that, which I would recommend people to join. I have that highlighted. If you'd like to join my Patreon, please join the ground floor tier first, because that's for the first 100 people that join, and you're getting a deal there. But then the standard tier is going to be $3 a month. It's going to be the same type of benefits as the ground floor tier, but it's just going to be the regular price. And then my hope for the future would be to introduce some more content or exclusive tiers on there in the future. But, as a sort of a newer, I've been doing this 3 years now, but as a newer podcaster, I'm still trying to get in a great groove of just doing the basics and add on to it more later. But my download numbers have been going up more for the podcast, which has been very nice, and I just really, really appreciate that. Thank you out there in the world for listening, and I hope you continue to do so. And if I can get my download metrics up, there hopefully will be a point at some point where there are ads being run on my podcast, so I can make a little bit of money from doing this thing that I really, really enjoy doing. So that's kind of the hope here. And I think the Patreon will always be the best place to get the podcast ad free. So this is just kind of future planning. Who knows? Maybe nobody will ever end up listening, but the Patreon will be the best place to get the podcast ad free every week. And you can join right now for $1 a month. So that will guarantee you can listen to this podcast. You get usually 4 of them a month for $1 a month in perpetuity, as long as I keep doing them, which I have a whole lot of fun doing this. And, I plan on doing this for a long time, I would hope. So that's just a little bit of the plan there. I think YouTube is also a great place. If you're a YouTube premium subscriber, you can always listen to it ad-free there. But at some point, if I can hit a certain download metric, I'm going to have a little bit of, I guess they're kind of like pre-automated podcasts or ads that would run on there. I'm still, if I can ever get to that point, I would like to see how they work and how they run and really determine it on that point. But I just want to put those points out there to kind of promote the Patreon, I guess, a little bit and show the value there. I also did add exclusive Discord access to Patreon, so nothing too crazy of benefits there yet. But if you do use Discord and would like to join my Discord, please go do that. You can join my Discord even if you don't join through Patreon, but you need to go through the link and request it. There's no way I can make it open just for anybody at this point, because I guess I don't have enough followers. But if you do request to join, I will let you join. And if you join the Patreon, you get exclusive access to some different threads in there that are exclusive for the Patreon members. And that would be the best way to, if you want to come through and say hey, or ask me a question, or say what's up, or give me your opinion, that would be probably the place I would look first. So I just want to put that out there. These are all just kind of, me preparing for the future if more people ever want to listen to this show. And if you've already listened to it, that's already pretty unbelievable to me. So I appreciate it greatly. So just thank you for being a listener in any form or fashion. If you just continue to listen to the podcast for free out there in the world, that's perfectly fine. And that is extremely fine. And I appreciate you 100,000% for doing that. And just thank you for interacting with any of my content. And hopefully you get some enjoyment out of it, because that's kind of the main thing I'm here to do. To give you some information and hopefully be a little bit entertaining. So there's my Dep Lewis Show spiel for you. So just thank you so much for listening to this episode. And just thank you so much. Yeah, just thank you. I hope you have a great week out there in the world. I hope some things go your way. If things are going poorly, I hope that changes. If things are going good, I hope that continues. And I also hope you come back and listen to another episode of Dep Lewis Show next week, because that's where I'll be. Way to go video games. There's some really great ones out there. Go Panthers, go Hawks, and, just go you. So I'll talk to you next time. Thank you so much. Goodbye.